The late April sky hung heavy over the Redstone plains, dark clouds rolling in from the west, their edges tinged with an ominous gray, the lake in the distance rippling uneasily. Its surface reflecting the brewing storm, wildflowers along the pastures' edge trembling under the weight of a restless wind, their vibrant yellows and purples muted in the dim light. Ancient oaks swaying, their gnarled branches creaking with the strain, the air thick with the scent of rain and electricity, cattle lowing nervously in the fields, their calls carrying a primal unease. John Parker, 54, stood on the porch of his 200-acre Texas ranch, his Stetson pulled low, his sharp eye scanning the horizon. A mug of coffee cooling in his hands, the red barn and snare shed casting long shadows in the fading light, the burn scar on his forearm throbbing faintly, a quiet reminder of battles fought. The wildflowers enduring despite the storms that had come before. The victory of securing the Redstone deed in episode 66 had solidified the town's claim to their land. But the celebration was short-lived, a weather alert crackling over the old radio in the kitchen. Severe storm warning for Redstone County. Expect heavy rain, high winds, potential flooding. Ethan, 14, joining John on the porch, his sketchbook tucked under his arm. Grandpa, it looks bad out there. John nodding, his jaw tight. It's a big one. We need to prepare. Sarah Bennett stepping out. Her auburn hair tied back, her hazel eyes reflecting the storm's intensity. I've seen storms like this in Kansas. They can tear a ranch apart. John turning to her. We'll batten down. Keep the cattle safe. The lake glowing silver under the darkening sky. Its calm a stark contrast to the tempest approaching. The wildflowers along the porch trembling in the breeze, the plains stretching wide and unbroken, their roots deep in the Texas soil. The crew gathered in the kitchen. The scent of coffee mingling with the tension in the air, Frank Hensley checking his pistol. Storm's one thing, but Grayson's another. He'll use this to hit us. Matt tapping his laptop. He's right. Chatter online says Grayson's operatives are in the area, planning to sabotage recovery efforts, make us look weak. Tom by the window, his silhouette framed against the darkening sky. Ridge has 5 riders. They're moving, even with the storm coming. Jake adding. We'll need to secure the herd first. Those fields flood fast. Mary Ellen setting out sandwiches, her voice steady. We've faced worse. This ranch has stood for generations. It'll stand through this. John standing. Frank, Tom, Jake, we'll move the cattle to higher ground. Matt, monitor Grayson's movements. Ethan. Sarah, help Mary Ellen secure the house and barn. Ethan nodding. I'll make sure Daisy's safe. His voice firm, the wildflowers along the house trembling in the breeze. The plains stretching wide and unbroken, their roots deep in the Texas soil. The first raindrops fell as John and the crew rode out, heavy and cold, the wind picking up, whipping across the plains. Esperanza's chestnut coat glistening with moisture as John guided her, the herd restless, their hooves churning the muddy ground, Frank and Tom working the flanks, Jake driving from behind. Head for the North Ridge, it's the highest point. John shouted over the wind, the cattle lowing, their movements sluggish, the rain intensifying, a deluge that turned the fields into a sea of mud. Lightning cracking the sky, illuminating the chaos, a steer breaking from the herd, John riding after it, lasso in hand, the ropes slicing through the air, securing the animal. But the ground beneath gave way, a flash flood roaring through, John barely pulling the steer to safety. We're losing time. Frank called, the herd finally reaching the ridge. The team securing them in a makeshift pen, the lake swelling in the distance, its banks overflowing, the wildflowers along the ridge trembling in the storm, the plains stretching wide and unbroken. Their roots deep in the Texas soil. Back at the ranch, the storm raged, windows rattling, the roof groaning under the onslaught, Sarah and Ethan boarding up the barn, Daisy the calf huddling inside. Her eyes wide, Mary Ellen tying down equipment in the snare shed, her hands steady despite the howling wind. We'll get through this, she shouted, her voice nearly lost in the gale. But as they worked, Matt burst in. Grayson's men, they're at the bridge, cutting the supports. Sarah's face hardening. That bridge is Redstone's lifeline. If it goes, we're cut off. Ethan grabbing a flashlight. We have to stop M. Mary Ellen firm. You're staying here. I'll radio John. The wildflowers along the barn trembling in the storm. The plains stretching wide and unbroken, their roots deep in the Texas soil. John received the call, his face grim. They're trying to isolate us, make us look like we can't lead. Riding back through the storm, the rain blinding, the wind a relentless force, Frank, Tom, and Jake following, they reached the bridge, a narrow wooden structure over Redstone Creek. Now a raging torrent, 3 of Grayson's operatives working with crowbars, prying at the supports, John dismounting, rifle raised, step away, now, the leader, a wiry man with a scar across his cheek. Sneering, "You're too late, Parker. This town's done." Lightning flashing, illuminating the scene, gunfire erupting, the operatives firing wildly. John and the crew taking cover behind a fallen oak. Frank returning fire, hitting one in the leg, Tom and Jake circling, the remaining 2 fleeing into the storm, the bridge creaking, a support beam snapping, John rushing forward, "We can't let it go." Securing the beam with rope, the crew working fast, the structure holding for now, the lake glowing silver in the storm, its come a distant memory, the wildflowers enduring. Their roots deep in the Texas soil. The storm raged through the night, Redstone battered, the town square flooded, stalls washed away, the church near Miller's Hill serving as a shelter. Clara organizing supplies, her face lined with worry. "We've lost power. Half the town's underwater." John arriving, soaked but resolute. "We'll rebuild. Together." Rallying the community. Assigning tasks, the crew distributing food, Sarah tending to the injured, her hands gentle, Ethan helping kids stay calm, telling them stories of Redstone's past, his voice a steady comfort. But Grayson's sabotage continued, Matt tracking their movements. "They're hitting the power lines now, trying to keep us in the dark." John's jaw tightening. "We'll stop him. Redstone won't break." The wildflowers along the church trembling in the rain, the plains stretching wide and unbroken, their roots deep in the Texas soil. At dawn, the rain slowed, the sky clearing to reveal the devastation, fields flooded, fences down, the bridge barely standing. John leading a team to the power lines, finding Grayson's men cutting cables. "You're done." John shouted, the crew moving in, a brief skirmish ending with the operatives subdued, Sheriff Bill arriving. "I'll take him. Good work, Parker." The power restored. Redstone slowly coming back to life, the community gathering in the square, Clara speaking. "John Parker's shown us what leadership looks like. Redstone will rise again." Cheers erupting. Ethan hugging John. "You saved us, Grandpa." Sarah's hand in his. "You're our rock." Her voice soft, John smiling. "We did this together." The lake glowing gold as the sun broke through. The plains stretching wide, wildflowers enduring, their roots deep in the Texas soil. The crew gathered at the ranch, coffee steaming, Ethan sketching the storm, Frank saying, "Grayson's playing dirty. He'll hit harder next time." Matt adding, "Phase 4's expanding. Midwest reports are coming in." Tom by the window, "Ridge has movement." For riders, Mary Ellen firm. "We'll rebuild stronger." John looking at his family, "This land's our home. We'll protect it. Storm or no storm," the lake shimmering in the morning light, the plains stretching wide. Wildflowers enduring, their roots deep in the Texas soil. The rain survived, but the fight far from over.